Today, for you, I'm going to be reviewing this beautiful book called The Way of the Superior Man. Now, I have read this book. It took me about 10 days to complete this book, and let me tell you, this is an absolute beauty. The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. This book teaches you about the ways of the superior man. Now, just a little disclaimer. Some of you might think this teaches you the ways of masculinity in the modern world. As you know, masculinity is declining. Now, some of you might believe that this book teaches you on how to become more masculine and how to become more manly. However, this book instead teaches you on how to conduct yourself as a man better, how to deal with situations, how to deal with your women. This has a lot about how to deal with your women. So if you're having trouble in your relationship, if you're having problems in your marital life, this book is key for you. Now, I do want to disclaim that this book does portray itself as like it is going to help you in any way with your masculinity. It is going to now this book is very much straightforward, and if you are someone that is easily offended or someone that does not like to be talked to directly in very authoritative way, this book might not be for you. Although I do recommend it to you because this book teaches you a lot on how to overcome those things, how to suppress your ego, and how to go on being a better man. Now, to be clear, suppressing your ego does not mean that you're not any good of a man. Having an ego is an essential part of masculinity, as you will see by this book. But I just wanted to have that little disclaimer out there, just in case someone has any false expectations. No one should feel like they didn't get what they were paying for or what they were promised. So anyways, now to start off, I want to make clear that this is not going to be one book. Now, this is not going to be one video. I am going to post a couple of series of videos because this is a very it is a very digestible book. You can understand and clearly take all of it in. It is that, but you need to understand everything in this, and to do that, what I would recommend you do is go by each chapter. I will be providing you with all the details you need per chapter, but I would recommend that you spend time reading the book. And how you do, there is no requirement in reading this book. You don't need to read this book. It is beneficial if you do. So there's a way of reading a book. You need to retain it, otherwise you'll lose about 80% of what you read. So there's no use. Education system is flawed, we all know that. But how the way you make this book useful is by retaining actually what you read. How you do that is when you go through a chapter, even if you're beginning and you're like very, very bad at retaining stuff, no offense, but if you're really, really bad at retaining stuff, I would recommend that go by every page and just think to yourself after reading one page, what did I take away from this page? What is something very beneficial? It can be anything. You don't have to summarize the entire page. You just have to take away one thing. What would that one thing be from that page that you think is the most important, that if you would be teaching to someone else, they would get the most value out of that one page? When you learn how to summarize that entire page in one sentence, when you know that the rest all is like just hocus pocus and you just need that one line, one sentence, or those couple of words, that's when you will actually retain it, because you will put it in your own words. And it is the best way to retain something is to put it in your own words. Now, I would recommend you write it down rather than just thinking about it, even though that is more time efficient, but it is more about retaining than time efficiency if you're actually reading a book. Otherwise, you can just go to shortform.com and you can just read the summary, which is not, in my humble opinion, which is not as effective as reading a book. So if you want to take full advantage of this beautiful book, what I recommend you do is actually spend time reading detailed reading this book, not just videos. Videos are beneficial, they're very useful. This is very useful, please watch it completely. But read the book, actually spend good quality time reading the book, and make sure you understand everything. Now, when you're sure that you understand everything, just hold on a second, close your eyes, and try to recall whatever you've read. And if you find anything useful, absolutely anything useful that you think that you can potentially teach to someone else, which is going to be your future self, so just keep that in your mind. Thirdly, write it down, because you will retain it when you write it down. What I personally did is, after every single chapter, I wrote down what I thought was useful in that chapter. So sometimes it's just literally the heading of the chapter, but I did write something. So for example, in chapter 3 I wrote okay, this is a little fucked up, but I warned you. Live as if your father doesn't care what you do. Enjoy your life, be free. And the chapter's heading reads, live as if your father were dead. So this is a humbling book. Now, you need to understand a couple of things when reading this book, is that if you are a straight heterosexual masculine person, this book is 100% for you. But if there's any other cases, you're female, you're a feminine man, there are feminine men, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it is. If you're happy being who you are, and with your sexual essence, not sexuality but sexual essence, if you're happy with that, there's nothing wrong with being feminine. But the problem is that most men are not happy being feminine, but the society just tells them to be so this book is gonna tackle that, and hopefully this channel will help you tackle that as well. So if that seems interesting, if you want to know what resides in this beautiful book, please stay with me.